Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Nick loses it over Billy's special wedding request, Claire's retaliation. According to spoilers for the upcoming 2 weeks, August 11th to 22nd, of The Young and the Restless, Claire Newman will seek retribution while someone makes a unique wedding request. Here's what Y&R fans may anticipate. Nick Newman will also lose it on Billy Abbott. Holden Novak will be shocked by Lily Winter's updates throughout the week of August 11th to 15th. Holden will be shocked when Lily confesses that Damian Kane did not return from Nice alive. With her outburst, Mariah Copeland will surprise Sharon Newman. Despite the fact that Mariah will ostensibly be attending therapy, she will not be willing to be honest with Sharon and will instead become angry with her. When Claire sees Audra Charles and Kyle Abbott sharing a kiss at Society, her retaliation should be imminent. Claire will take charge of the situation and make a daring move. We'll see if Nate Hastings learns of Audra's stolen kisses and the scheme to destroy Claire's relationship, since Claire might take revenge by telling Nate about Audra's inappropriate behavior. Kyle, on the other hand, will accuse Audra of having that lip lock and plead with Claire that he is loyal to her. Now that all these worries are starting to surface, how much more can Claire tolerate? Victor will concentrate on Kane retribution, according to other Y&R spoilers. It appears that Kane will reject Victor by declining to support his coalition against the Abbotts and their family company. Given that Jack is going to get a surprise invitation, Kane might instead look for Jack as an ally. He'll lose it on Billy in a heated argument with Nick. Nick might believe that rather than working with Kane, Billy should be devoted to the people he loves. Billy will act as though he supports Kane's objectives, but in reality, he will be plotting with Jack to prevent him from causing trouble at Jabbo. He will rely on Nick to be a key player in the Newman's battle against Kane now that he is back with Victor. That information might make Sharon uneasy, since she might see Nick's darker side emerge. Then, since Christine Blair will require a favor, there ought to be a request pertaining to the wedding. We'll check to see if Christine needs a matron of honor or at least a wedding planner once Lauren Fenmore Baldwin receives a request of some kind. Danny Romalotti might be able to offer some guidance, as Daniel Romalotti Jr. will also confide in Danny about his developing love for Tessa Porter. Kane will make another promise to Lily and hope that their relationship can resume. In an effort to learn more about Kane's actual motivations, Lily will give him the impression that it is feasible. The week of August 18th to 22nd is when Lily's manipulation scheme might go awry. Lily's feelings for Kane may get more complex the longer this continues. Along the road, there will also be more Newman planning. Victor had better be prepared for everything, since he won't be playing around when it comes to Kane retribution. He might do all in his power to show Claire how committed he is to her once he's back with Kyle. But will it be enough? Now that his affections for Tessa are growing, Daniel might perhaps go too far. So we'll see how she reacts to any audacious actions he does. Nick loses it over Billy's special wedding request for Claire's retribution. According to spoilers for the upcoming 2 weeks of The Young and the Restless, which run from August 11th to August 22nd, Genoa City will be rocked by a volatile mix of revenge schemes, broken alliances, and unanticipated emotional upheavals. Holden Novak is still in shock after Lily Winter's shocking revelation as the drama opens the week of August 11th to 15th. Damian Kane didn't return from Nice alive, and Lily doesn't mince words. Holden can see the turmoil in her eyes, despite her tone being level, almost too calm. His mind is spinning with the consequences, and he is in shock. This is a pivotal moment, not simply another heartbreaking report from abroad. Damian was more than just a casual friend. His passing alters secrets, power relationships, and even the taint of some financial transactions. Holden, who is still processing, begins to make connections that Lily obviously does not want made just now. When Mariah Copeland and Sharon Newman meet up for coffee at Crimson Lights, what should have been a sweet mother-daughter meeting quickly devolves into a tumult. With tactful assistance, Sharon attempts to transition into a discussion regarding Mariah's treatment sessions. But Mariah's defenses smash down rather than opening. Her remarks are too incisive. "Sharon, you are not my therapist. You're not even paying attention to me." Sharon flinches, surprised, but remains calm. Sharon feels uneasy as Mariah leaves abruptly, fearing that there may be more going on than therapeutic resistance. When Claire Newman sees Audra Charles and Kyle Abbott in a dark corner of society, she arrives early for a lunch appointment and stops in her tracks. It's not until Audra leans in and kisses Kyle that she realizes what she's seeing. It is not a coincidence. It isn't amusing. Claire's stomach turns like a vice as it is intimate and charged. All she can hear is the thump of her own heartbeat as the clink of cutlery and the diner's conversation vanish. Claire does something unexpected, retreating rather than charging across. Her mind is already racing with plans as her eyes narrow. Kyle and Audra don't know who they are dealing with if they believe they can play games with her. She is already planning her retaliation by the time she gets to the solitude of her automobile. The initial action? Take charge of the story. She is aware that Audra's extracurricular activities and her covert plan to ruin Claire's relationship with Kyle are unknown to Nate Hastings. Audra's reputation and power might collapse in an instant if Nate finds out about that stolen kiss from Claire herself. Later that night, Kyle finds Claire. He speaks quickly, saying that Audra kissed him unexpectedly, that he pushed her away, and that it had no significance. Claire's countenance is unreadable, but his eyes are beseeching. "You're loyal to me?" she asks in a quiet, even derisive tone. "Prove it." Kyle feels too relieved. This is a test, not an act of forgiveness, and she plans to make it harsh. Victor Newman is engaged in his own long-term strategy elsewhere. He is still furious that Billy Flynn's character, Kane Ashby, refused to support him in his fight against the Abbotts. Victor's eyes shift to steel as Kane responds to his suggested alliance with a blunt, unrepentant no. This is a declaration of war, not a commercial dispute. Kane's counter? Go straight to Jack Abbott. Kane wants to fortify the Abbotts for the time being if Victor intends to overthrow them. Both men are aware that a single mistake may cost them more than money as the chessboard shifts. Joshua Morrow's character Nick Newman is dragged into the conflict earlier than he anticipates. He loses his rage when he finds out that Kane is collaborating with Billy Abbott. Nick accuses Billy of betraying his supporters by supporting someone whose loyalty is as shaky as quicksand, sparking a heated showdown. Billy responds by saying he's playing along with Kane in order to keep him around. Nick, however, doesn't believe it. There is a noticeable tension between them, and Sharon, who chances to observe some of the altercation, sees a side of Nick that she hasn't seen in a long time. She feels nervous because of the hardness and edge in his words. Christine Blair approaches Lauren Fenmore Baldwin in the midst of this chaos and makes a particular request regarding a wedding. It's almost shy, which is not like Christine at all. She explains that she needs Lauren's assistance as matron of honor or in organizing some personal details for a modest but significant event she is arranging. Honored but inquisitive, Lauren lights up. Since Christine is often private, this request feels like a rare weakness in her defenses. In the meantime, Michael Graziardi's character Daniel Romalotti Jr. is struggling with his own reality. He eventually confesses his developing emotions for Tessa Porter while seated across from Danny Romalotti. Without passing judgment, Danny listens and gives Daniel the kind of fatherly guidance he didn't know he still required. The right thing isn't always the easiest thing, adds Danny, who is aware that going too far with Tessa could destroy their friendship as well as the peace in the family. Nevertheless, the emotions are present and growing more intense. Ever the mastermind, Kane once again uses his charm against Lily. He assures her that if they can simply move past their past, they will have a new beginning and a bright future. Lily gives him the impression that she is thinking about it. In actuality, she uses every loving grin and persistent touch as a premeditated strategy to get him to come closer so she may learn his true motivation. However, the longer she plays this part, the riskier it gets. She is aware from personal experience that feigning love for Kane might occasionally resemble falling in love with him. Every plotline has sharper edges throughout the week of August 18th to 22nd. It begins to seem like Lily's manipulation has two sides. In addition to receiving the knowledge she seeks, she is being drawn into a recognizable, euphoric dance that she vowed never to do again. Nick becomes more involved in Newman family strategy sessions as Victor intensifies his plots against Kane. Even Victor is surprised by Nick's readiness to adopt Victor's brutal strategies. As she observes from the sidelines, Sharon's worries grow. She has witnessed Nick go this path previously, where retaliation overcomes good intentions. Desperate to maintain Claire, Kyle begins making extravagant plans, such as a romantic dinner, an unexpected vacation, and hushed promises that she is the only person he wants. Claire, however, is unaffected. On the inside, she's still planning, but she'll take the presents, the attention, and the repentance. After all, patience is the key to getting revenge. With Tessa, Daniel is on the verge of approaching her. There is no denying their chemistry, and in a moment of silence, perhaps too quiet, he leans in a bit too closely. It is unclear if Tessa will lean in or draw away, but the time is approaching and there will be repercussions. Nothing feels stable in Genoa City at the conclusion of these 2 weeks. Nick's rage towards Billy is far from over. Lily's game with Kane threatens to engulf her. Claire's retaliation is still boiling, and Victor's struggle against Kane is getting more intense. The question is not if somebody will be burned, but rather how many will be and if anyone will escape unharmed. The conflict between Nick and Billy has only become worse by the middle of the week. Nick stormed away after their previous argument ended without a resolution, leaving Billy looking after him with his hands balled into fists and his jaw clenched. Now, however, fate, or rather, Victor, guarantees another encounter. This time, it takes place in the Jabot boardroom, a setting designed for deliberate, quiet conversation. Rather, it turns into a battleground. Nick doesn't waste time making small talk. With the subdued intimidation of a guy who has already determined that the other person is guilty, he enters. "Do you believe that you are playing Kane?" Nick insists. "You're not. Billy, he's playing you. And after he's finished, neither Jabot nor your credibility will remain." Leaning forward with that sneer that makes his foes go crazy, Billy pushes back. "It's funny. The same might be said of you and Victor. You are too preoccupied with your father's grudges to notice the harm they are causing." The exchange feels like a powder keg waiting to burst because of the quiet moments that occur between the measured glares and the pauses that seem to go on for minutes, even though the verbal fighting is intense. By the end, Nick is so agitated that he slams the door as he leaves, sending a warning shot reverberating down the corridor. Lily and Kane's delicate balancing act is beginning to reveal signs of weakness across town. She is beginning to sense the old rhythm between them, even though she is supposed to be manipulating him by bringing him near enough to expose his true motives. Kane is skilled at reading her, therefore it's risky since there could be harsh consequences if he believes she's working against him. Kane unexpectedly appears at her table one evening at the GCAC with a small black velvet box in her hand. He slips onto the seat opposite from her and says, "I thought I'd surprise you." She opens the box to reveal a lovely gold bracelet with the words "A New Beginning" etched on the inside. Lily's heart aches from both the guilt of using this against him and the recollection of their past. "It's beautiful," she says with a slight smile as she puts on the bracelet. With his gaze fixed on hers, Kane takes her hand across the table. The words should seem like manipulation, but they stay in her chest long after he has left. "So are you." Claire is meticulously carrying out her revenge plan at society. She has already sowed doubts about Audra's allegiance in Nate's mind. She mentioned in passing that she noticed something odd between Audra and Kyle. An eyebrow is raised when Nate discusses his collaboration with Audra. It's sufficient to get Nate to begin asking his own questions, which is precisely what Claire desires. 2 nights later, she sends Nate a grainy, seemingly covert snapshot of Audra leaning against Kyle, marking the next step. Even if it doesn't depict the entire kiss, it's sufficient to give the impression that it is incriminating. She includes a little message with the picture, "I felt you should know. Someone would have to tell me." Unaware of this, Audra continues to concentrate on her covert plan to ruin Claire and Kyle's relationship. She is convinced that Claire's confidence would eventually be undermined by Kyle's persistent interest to her. She is unaware, however, that Claire is already 3 steps ahead of her and will not tolerate this. Meanwhile, Victor is in combat mode. For what he refers to as a family strategy session, he calls Nick to the Newman ranch, but in reality, Victor is giving orders. "Kane is a liability," says Victor. "Liabilities must also be eliminated. Indefinitely." Although Nick doesn't flinch, Victor can hear the coldness in his voice. "Then let me know what you need done." Only the last part of the exchange is heard by Sharon, who has come to deliver some papers for Nikki, but it is enough to unnerve her. She later yanks Nick away. She cautions, "Be careful. It's easy to lose sight of your identity when you begin to think like him." Although Nick dismisses it with a half smile, Sharon recognizes the expression in his eyes. It is the same one that he had years ago, at the height of his feud with Adam. Christine and Lauren meet at Fenmore's in a more sedate area of Genoa City to talk about the wedding request. Now, it's obvious that Christine wants Lauren to support her as matron of honor in addition to helping with the planning. Although she is intrigued by Christine's abrupt turn towards ceremony and intimacy, Lauren is also moved. With a quiet chuckle, Christine explains that she is ready for something for herself after years of prioritizing her profession and other people's problems. She adds simply, "It's time." And Lauren instantly agrees. There are some negative aspects to the discussion, even though it evolves into a brainstorming session about guest lists, venues, and outfits. Given her past experiences with some guests who might not be overjoyed to see her joyful, Christine acknowledges that she is anxious about how some people might respond to her special day. Lauren swears that she will always have her back. The tension between Daniel and Tessa is getting to the breaking point in his flat. Under the pretense of work and collaboration, they have been spending more time together, but they are both aware that there is more going on behind the scenes. They run their hands over the same sheet of lyrics one evening as they go over several music projects. Neither of them quickly draws away. The air between them becomes more charged and denser. Daniel raises his head and speaks softly. "I can't keep acting like this isn't happening, Tessa." Tessa pauses, caught between her attraction to Daniel and her duty to Mariah. Mariah interrupts the conversation by texting her before she can reply. She departs swiftly, but they will never forget the last glance they exchange before she leaves. As the second week progresses, Claire starts to observe the outcomes of her strategy. Asking Audra why she was with Kyle, Nate confronts her. Nate doesn't believe Audra's attempt to portray it as a harmless business encounter that was misinterpreted. His voice is cold as he states, "I don't like being lied to." Sensing that the walls are closing in, Kyle intensifies his efforts to regain Claire. He arrives to her house with flowers, a meaningful note about their future, and takeaway from her favorite restaurant. Claire smiles politely as she accepts them, but she's secretly planning how to make his future a nightmare if he makes a mistake again. The most perilous part of Lily and Kane's dance is almost here. She has enough tidbits of evidence to believe that Kane's business activities are connected to a more extensive plot involving corporate espionage and foreign accounts. However, she lacks evidence, and Kane will shut down entirely if she gives away too much too soon. After another private supper one evening, Kane leans in and gives her a kiss. It's deliberate, slow, and all too familiar. Lily allows it to happen, telling herself it's part of the plan, but she questions whether she's telling the truth when she goes home and stands in front of the mirror, stroking her lips. When Victor gives a rival media outlet negative information about Kane's business operations, his grudge against Kane takes a more violent turn. The allegations of backroom transactions, dubious partners, and rumors of money laundering catch Kane off guard. Suspecting Victor right away, he bursts into Newman Enterprises and demands a meeting. Victor acknowledges it. He actually smirks as he reclines in his chair. "You caused this yourself." Victor had already taken his next move, leveraging the scandal to force Kane out of numerous important contracts and cripple his operations, despite Kane's pledges of retribution. The fallout spreads quickly. Billy exploits the pandemonium to give Jack important information while continuing to act as though he is working with Kane. Meanwhile, Nick must balance Sharon's entreaties for him to maintain his humanity with Victor's brutal commands. As August 22nd draws to a close, Genoa City begins to resemble a chessboard with each piece just one move away from being sacrificed. The trust between Audra and Kyle has been eroded by Claire's retaliation, but she is not finished yet. Lily is in danger of unanticipated consequences from her manipulation of Kane. It's too late to turn back Nick and Billy's feud. Victor is still pulling strings in the background, prepared to destroy the entire board in order to win. Emotional, professional, and possibly even literal explosions are promised in the upcoming chapter. After all, retaliation doesn't just boil in Genoa City. Eventually, it erupts.